Hey, everybody. I'm back. I got to talk about a couple of things. I do. Yeah, there's been, mm, I don't know, misinformation, disinformation, misunderstandings, hurt feelings, bruised egos, um, all kind of just minutia that happens when people start coming together. Now, as a there's a difference between being a boss where you have employees that you pay them for their performance, you pay them for what they do, and if they want to go against you, they want to disparage you, they want to make go out of their way to do things to make you look bad, either intentionally or by misinformation, it's easy to deal with. You just fire them and replace them. However, when you're in a position like I'm in currently, and you have a operation that's being put together with volunteers, people that are not receiving a paycheck, and you have those things to deal with, you have to be very, what words do I want to use? Well, careful and deliberate, and with wisdom. So, our forefathers talk about that. And in this provision of free government and the blessings of liberty can be preserved to any people only by a firm adherence to justice, moderation, temperance, frugality, and virtue, and by frequent reoccurrence to fundamental principles. Now, we also have our First Amendment, freedom of speech. That means that someone like me can do things like this and have a public face, a public voice with free speech, and I have the liberty to make a fool of myself. I do. However, that's not my intention. It's hard to be respected as a leader if all you do is make yourself look foolish. And it's difficult to be a leader if you let misinformation and disinformation destroy your position. So sometimes you just got to call things out. Now, one of the things that happened is that I was calling out David Jose. And in the process, I was talking about how David Jose likes to call people out with PCAPs, packet captures. And he'll hold up his cell phone and he'll read the text messages off and discuss the situation. I was doing that, and I said Dave Jose called out John Patrice and Truth Rick for bad teaching, and he calls out Bowtie and Assistant Professor David Clements, the teacher of law. They don't teach law. They teach legalese and assumptions and presumptions and case history. They don't even teach the highest law of the land. That is how dumbed down our education system has become. And it's these British bar parasites that have done it. So, Own Your Authority video number 6. When you feel like you're in the mood, give that one a listen and look in the description for the link for that 8th grade test. And understand that's late 1800s. So it's like about 150 years ago. And look at the intelligence that an 8th grader had to have and the amount of time that they had to complete that test. So the other night, I had a very very unusual situation happen. It's not all unusual. Part of it is quite common, and that is the my ability to see evil, my ability to visually see the demonics. And so as we all have our human eyes, we don't have x-ray vision. But with the aid of an x-ray machine, we can do x-ray, have x-ray vision. We don't have night vision, but with the aid of night vision goggles, we can see at night almost like it's day, except it's different. It's kind of green and not bright and sunny like the good Lord shining his good light down on us, right? You can get frequencies to show. So if you were looking at the night sky in one picture, just your normal vision through a telescope, you see the stars and you see the space in between the stars. When you change the optics to pick up frequency, the entire image changes. And this is what happens to me with regards to seeing evil and demonics. So it happens for me in the dark. I can be in the pitch black and have my eyes open, or I can be in a light and close my eyes. And so the other morning, it's like 4:00 in the morning, and I'm feeling like I need some toothpicks to hold my eyelids open, and they're closing. And the evil that was trying to penetrate and get to me was so intense all around me. I see the faces. I see a lot of things. But that morning, I was seeing faces so distorted, so ugly, evil, and just all piled on each other like they'd all been thrown in a heap. And they're not comfortable. They're miserable. And they're ugly. And I just couldn't sleep. I just couldn't close my eyes. And I talked with the Father and said, I need a stronger shield, Father. These demonics are working overtime trying to get to me. Give me a stronger shield, Father, and then use a boomerang effect and throw it right back at him. Shine your light, Christ energy, and boomerang this evil the heck out of my life. And I closed my eyes, and it was peaceful. I was protected. And I opened my eyes and looked at the phone, looking through my telegram, and I'd been invited to a group. Well, all of a sudden, the group appeared on my Telegram channel, and many days had passed, and I didn't know where it came from. I didn't know who was involved, and however, they quite regularly have a voice chat, and I had not opted in, so I decided to opt in, and I didn't unmute my mic. And shortly after I opted in, it's, hey, Ethan's here. Hey, Ethan. Right. So I'm in a friendly crowd. And, but they don't hear anything that I'm saying because I didn't unmute my mic and I didn't realize that my mic was muted. And there was some talk that was going on, and it stopped and went into a scripture reading. And that scripture reading was so relevant to all that I was experiencing in these moments that I have just described. So one of the fellas in this group, his name is John Patrice. And he talked about how people are saying Ethan's going a little crazy. He's ripping this person. He's ripping that person. He's out of his mind. Something along those lines. And then John said, I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was bothering him that I had said something about him and bad teaching. And I was a little set back by this because I have no recollection of having any issues with John Patrice or his teaching. Now, John did tend to spend most of his time in groups that I was staying away from because of the teachings. And I was sticking with Dave Jose because of his good teachings. And so Dave Jose, I watched that live when he called out John Patrice and Truth Rick, said that he had messaged them and said, come on live, talk about the teachings that you're putting in my channel. So I have no knowledge of any bad teachings by John Patrice. But I do have a good knowledge of experiencing David Jose calling out bad actors. And he's been spot on every time. However, in this case, Dave showed no evidence of any bad teachings of John Patrice. So I'm here to make that clarification. I did not say John Patrice is doing bad teachings. I have no issues with John Patrice or his teachings. And so I just want to make that crystal clear for everybody. All right. What else you want to talk about, Ethan? Oh, my goodness. Since we're talking about David Jose, we'll talk about that a little bit more. There's a YouTuber. He's got a channel. I should be able to pull this up. I want to get this accurate. I got a few things open that for me to get to that I want to talk about, but I don't think I'm going to lose it if I do this. Should be in my recent history. Here we go. Let's pop this open. All right. So take a look at this character here. I think you can see that. Now this says David Straight FT period, David Jose and Jamie Cobat, biggest frauds ever, scam exposed. All right. I listened to this man talk about David Jose long enough to know that this man doesn't know what he's talking about. Because David Jose's teachings are good. In fact, they are some of the best. And my issue with David Jose, he's an 80%er. He's going to give 80% good information to bring people in. And he holds back information so that when people get to a certain point, they come to him and he can either, with his intelligence, manipulate and kind of make them look bad or discredit them or just take them down the wrong path. Just perfectly nicely, happy as can be, just take you down the wrong path. So David Jose doesn't want to talk about assemblies, doesn't want that junk. Don't be talking that junk. And then when he gets pushed on it, he says, well, I don't talk about things that I don't know. So fair enough. When it comes to this situation that we all find ourselves in, I want to know what I don't know when it comes to what's going to be effective at making things right. So this clown here who's saying that Dave Jose's teachings are bad, he is as wrong can be. And apparently the name of his channel is Dad versus CPS. So he's got a channel dedicated just to this. And he didn't impress me as a man of integrity or truth. And so I got that on the record. All right. I got no issues with John Patrice or his teachings. He's in a good group with good men, and they invited me. So that's that. What else is going on, Ethan? Oh, my. The misinformation and the disinformation. I had provided a man with a notice of liability. I believe it was tailored to his state. And this is when I was struggling with, I'm making one for this state, and I make one for that state, and I make one for this state. And I felt there had to be a way to just create one document for all Americans. And I did it. It took a little bit of thinking. It took a little bit of figuring, but it did it. And so this gentleman took that document and created a sheriff's affidavit and submitted it into a group. Well, all of a sudden now this group that probably had no problems with my teachings or the things that I was saying, all of a sudden got a big problem with me. Ethan doesn't know what he's talking about. He's close, but he doesn't have a clue on this sheriff's affidavit. All right, troll. I got no wrenches here, so I'm the wrench tonight. Yeah, definitely going to report. All right. All right. One more nag screen. All right. So get back on track here. So apparently now I have no credibility. Worse than that, when the men went down to meet with Sheriff Dar, they went down there with paperwork that would be served on Sheriff Dar if he didn't cooperate, if he didn't do his duty, if he refused to accept the authority that was giving him the jurisdiction and the power and the authority to do the right things for we the people. And I got multiple people, that means more than one, messaging me about how I don't sign my paperwork and that I'm here telling people what I do and encouraging them to do it. But since I don't sign my paperwork, I have no credibility, and these people are scared, and I'm leading them into danger. And I'm not anyone who should be listened to because I don't sign my own paperwork. Well, they got one thing right. I'd never sign my paperwork. That's what the notary jurat does. I pen my mark as an autograph. So I do believe that some of these truths are being disseminated, and not just from me, but from people within the groups. So let's take a look at this again, where we started off here with this video. Preservation of free government. Preservation. So that's what I'm working on here, is preservation of good people and good intentions, and not having it destroyed through misinformation, disinformation, bad teachings, things like that. Free government and the blessings of liberty can be preserved to any people only by a firm adherence to justice, moderation, temperance, frugality, and virtue, and by a frequent reoccurrence to fundamental values. Now, the definition of those words is something that I'm going to look at and discuss in detail going forward. I think I'm going to talk about one of them now. I do believe it is here. I believe I have it ready because I was having a phone conversation with a fella, and I'm talking about freedom and liberty. And well, one of the fellows seemed to think that liberty refers to maritime and somehow is not necessarily a good word. I like to know what these words meant to our forefathers. So you can look up the definition of liberty, and you can find some different things. Here, the Old English is what I'm looking for when it comes to definition on words. So what do we got? Liberty, right? This is an online etymology dictionary. I guess I got to look up etymology. I got a clue, but I couldn't describe it. So, liberty, free choice, freedom to do as one chooses. Also, freedom from the bondage of sin, from Old French liberate. Freedom, liberty, free will. And then here in brackets, we got modern French liberate, from Latin libera term. Civil or political freedom, condition of a free man, absence of resistance, permission from labor free. At all first of persons of communities, state of being free from arbitrary, despotic, or autocratic rule or control is from late 15th century. I'm guessing that's what that refers to. All right. What else you got to talk about, Ethan? All right. We got a troll saboteur. This guy's not a gatekeeper because he's got no knowledge. He's just a saboteur, just a mean-spirited person who's never going to show you his face, never give you his true identity, will not come on a live chat video. So this guy goes by Living Media. And all he does is watch my videos, listens to every word. And now I didn't create the Papa's chat channel, the Affidavit Papa's chat channel, but I'm responsible for it. And the trolls and the saboteurs became the admins. And the oppression and the roadblocks that I had to deal with there. Eventually, I just left the group. And so here's one of the things that happened. This fella, I won't give the whole name. Unlimited blank NH. Now, Unlimited came into the chat for the first time, to the best of my knowledge, because I was watching that pretty close and there wasn't that many members. And when Unlimited comes in, he talked about how he had served paperwork on his sheriff and gave some description to it. And and then said, these people are so deranged, they mentioned Trump in the motion to suspend my visitations. So I said, hope your sheriff is duty bound. Have you created a notice of liability? And Unlimited says, no, what is that? And then Living Media jumps in. So get a load of what Living Media's got to say. He's responding directly to Unlimited because Unlimited said, no, what is that? So we've got Living Media responding. Living Media says, ladies, please take this to Ethan's Weed channel. WED. Weed. Not marijuana, not cannabis, not medical. Weed. And Unlimited Anon says, excuse me? And Living Media says, take it to Ethan's channel. Then he says, I created him one as patient as I am remedy is to be offered or nonsense taken elsewhere. So I was trying to explain to John Patrice that Living Media is this way. And John Patrice was standing up for Living Media and it seemed like wasn't really too interested in what I had to say. But I got a feeling that it's Living Media who listens to all my videos, try and find something to come at me. So it would appear, I could be wrong, that it was Living Media who alerted John Patrice to the statement that I made and was adding in that Ethan is a little crazy calling out this person and that person. So, all right, we got that. Wow, already a half an hour. I didn't intend for this to be that long. So that's the best truth I can bring on all that was just discussed here. Now, as a organizer of an operation of volunteers, we are not going to have bad actors involved sabotaging what's going on. And there's times when people can do things or act a certain way because of circumstances that they're dealing with, personal stresses, not the correct information. Get him, Josh Eddy. You got another troll there. And just jump to conclusions through assumptions and presumptions like a British parasite, a British bar agent. And that's not good for anybody. So there's been a tremendous amount of negative energy that never should have happened. And that negative energy is a draw. It's not just a draw on me, it's a draw on other people. And it creates division. So that means lack of productivity and bad feelings, hurt feelings, and actions that go along to match that. So I'm just looking to bring some clarity and some truth and some unity to this operation. Now, this operation is at a point that it will move forward without me. And that's why generals get appointed. If something happens to me, who can take my position as the executive manager? No one, unless I have appointed them. And I got to be very, very sure of who I'm appointing. I owe it to all of you, to every one of you, to make those good decisions and to be thinking about situations like this. We didn't come this far to fail. We're here to win it. We're here to crush it. So what started here in Michigan is spreading. And it's not just, this is what was created in Michigan and it's spreading. This was created and then something else gets created and then something else gets created and it's moving and it's a snowball. So, something to be happy about. It is. I'm happy about it. I'm happy about the way the groups are coming together. And I'm going to be staying out of the minutia. I do that on purpose. Because that's not a place for the leader to be. If the leader is going to be caught up in all the minutia of all the groups, the leader can end up being the problem in the group's eyes. So my position is much better to be there once the minutia gets to a point that it needs to be properly dealt with, or when the need for more knowledge is apparent. And if I don't have it, then I got to find it. So this is imperative in building a successful operation with good people and good teamwork. So we covered the definition of liberty. We talked about, I put John Patrice in a bad light unintentionally. I was ripping David Jose. I was not ripping John Patrice. So I hope that's all clear. Oh, and I do not sign my paperwork. That is a fact. And the processes that I went through were the proper process. Had we gone down there with that paperwork autographed, that's got Sheriff Dyer in a box right from the get. And the thing is that him having advanced knowledge of the claims that would be brought against him did not concern me at all. Because he could have 2 years, 3 years. Assistant Professor Dave Clemens, all the justices from the Supreme Court, all on his team. They can't rebut it. Honestly, Well, of course, they could rebut it with lies and deception, but that would all come out in the end. So I had no issue with having that paperwork without an autograph. The evidence, the stack of evidence that was put in front of that man should have, really should have done what it was supposed to do. But apparently, there's no integrity in that man. He's either bought off or he's honeypotted, blackmailed in one form or fashion, and too afraid to accept immunity and protection. And he was quaking when the boys showed up with good intentions for him and for the people. So, Sheriff Dart, you've been living in fear. Now you put yourself in an even worse spot. And I pray for you, sir. But there will be no mercy. God is really not happy. He's beyond not happy. And that's why we're going to fix this, by God. By God, it will be done. And if you fear God to the point that you can love God and you can know God and you can live for God, you will not have fear of God. And when you don't fear God and you love God and you live for God, you fear no man. And now you can live your life without fear. I got to talk about this. God. I am uncomfortable with that term. Why, Ethan? Well, I'm also uncomfortable with the term Jesus. The letter J was invented by a Jesuit underneath the Pope several hundred years ago. 500 years, 500 some years ago, I think, something in that range. So, how do you go from Yahweh to Jesus? And there's some research that indicates that it wasn't Yahweh. It was something more to have to do with tone and harmony. And it would be something along the lines of Yahweh, Yahweh. And that's a far cry from Jesus. And that letter J didn't exist in that sound. And just look at Dave Jose. Do you say Dave Jose? No, you say Dave Jose. The J is silent. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. See what you come up with. I believe that it is the evil demonics, the book burners, those that change history, that keep us from knowing the truth, did that on purpose so that when good Christians are in prayer, that they are insulting the Father and the Son. Now, we know they like to play with numbers. Numbers are big to them. They put stuff right in your face. Spell God backwards. What do you get? Or could it be a bastardization of a pagan lord, Ogden? I'm not sure what it is, but I am very uncomfortable with the term God and Jesus. However, I use it regularly just for communication. There's too many battles that are important for your life, for your liberty, for your freedom, for your security, your privacy, your property, and your happiness. And these other things, they'll get sorted out a little bit later. They will. All right. I'm going to end it there. Much love, everybody. Put a smile on your face. Frequent work, reoccurrence to fundamental values. We're going to bring morality back to society. Yes, sir. Josh Eddy, always be safe. I am. You all be safe too. We'll be back real soon. We got an awful lot to talk about. A lot of things happening. Peace out.